Welcome back to Irish Strength Training, Mark here. So we got that competition done last weekend in GSP gym, the Strongman Competition, and a lot of you will see that I have been putting up all of the individual events over the last week. We also had a live stream on the day, so thank you so much to everyone that tuned in for that. We got a great audience, and I know everyone really enjoyed the competition because it was a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do today is go through my own performance. There was ups and downs, there really was. So let's have a look at the different events and see how I did. Now the first event up was the log press for reps. So this basically entailed getting the log from the ground to the overhead position, whatever way you wanted, and waiting for the ref's down signal. Now a lot of people went for the traditional log press, which is a little bit of a slower move. However, you do get more power, which in the end will conserve a little bit more energy. A lot of you will have seen that during my training I was doing Viper press, which is a faster version, but it's very tough on the cardio. So it's hard to keep going for a full minute. So we'll have a look at my performance now, and just so you're aware, on that first rep, very frustrated. I shot it up really fast, but I was thinking speed, I was thinking of technique, everything else. I did not wait for the down signal. So my first rep was marked off, so I didn't get that. But let's have a look at the rest. So 11 reps, 12 if you count the first one, but unfortunately they didn't. The ref was 100% right. I did not wait for the down signal. I actually asked the question in the athletes meeting at the start. I went, are you going to give a signal at the top and the bottom? And he just, no, I'll give a signal at the top, and then didn't pay attention. But I was I was sixth out, and rush of blood to the head, thinking speed, and I just didn't pay attention. That will become a little bit of a trend to the whole competition, unfortunately. But yeah, it was just stupidity and not paying attention. But it went really well, 11 reps. It got me second in the standings, and with the 12 reps, I would have got joined first. But at the end of the day, second in that event, and it's one of my weaker events. That was brilliant. I've really worked hard on the log recently, so I was super happy with that. So on to event number 2, which was the Deadlift Ladder. So this involved 4 bars, starting at 140, 160, 180, and then finishing on 200. You had 45 seconds to lift all 4 bars. Straps were allowed in this. Personally, I didn't use them. I trained this. I was fairly happy with it. But do you remember how I said I didn't listen in the first event? Well, I didn't listen in this event either. So I went up to that 140 bar. I was very confident on this event. As you will see, lifted the 140 and didn't wait for the down signal. So of course the ref sent me back. Had to do it again. I was extremely frustrated by this stage, very annoyed, and my lifts, they were fine, but form went out the door. I was that annoyed at myself. Finished it. My time, I believe, was about 23 seconds. It wasn't great. I should have been 15, 16 seconds on this event. Very, very disappointing, and it definitely showed in the listings at the end. So for anybody out there, maybe you're starting to see a trend that you really need to pay attention to the ref. I had friends there on the day supporting me, and I think I heard what are you doing? Listen about 20 times off these people that were just kept telling me, slow down, listen to the ref. I think by the last event, maybe I was listening. But yeah, I really just, if anybody that's done a competition, you really get caught up in the moment. The adrenaline is pumping. It's so much stuff to actually concentrate on. You're trying to go, I need to go as fast as possible, but also, right, lock in the back, right, fire through the legs, and, I need to go to that one next, need to be as quick as possible, but also listening to the ref. It is really tough. It's a lot to do. But the actual event went okay. It was just slow because of that mistake. So it was a stupid mistake, really cost me in that. So as a result of that, again, stupid mistake, I ended up coming 11th in that event. So not great. If I had done 15, 16 seconds, I would have been well up in the listings, but yeah, it's something to learn from. So next up was a weight carrying medley. So this involved a 60 kg sandbag, 80 kg keg, and then a 100 kg sandbag. One that I'm fairly comfortable with on the weighted carries. They're one of my stronger suits. Didn't perform particularly well on this. I was okay, the lifts weren't that bad, but I just wasn't quick enough on it. Now, one of the things, I was penalised because you will see that I started off a little early. I was a bit premature. So yeah, I took off before the actual count, so I was penalised for that. Rightly so again. I think I need a hearing aid or something. I just was not listening on the day at all. So it did again affect my time. So I think I ended up in 12th position, 11th or 12th on this event. Not great. Not great at all. I would have expected to be a lot higher in the listings on that. So let's quickly gloss over that one. We're on to the farmer's walk. Now, the farmer's walk was for 90 kg in each hand, so 180 kg total. And the farmer's walk is not one of my stronger suits, mainly because I'm slow on the pick. Once I get moving, I'm quite quick, but the pick, I'm not great on it. So that, you will see, affected my time. I was a little bit slower, but again, I ended up, I think, joint 10th, maybe, joint 11th, somewhere around that. Now keep in mind there are 24 competitors on the day, so mid-table isn't terrible, as long as I can get sort of up towards the top of the table in some of the events, like the log. So I wasn't terribly disappointed with this. It was sort of expected to be mid-table on this one. Not a whole lot more to say. It was just, didn't particularly go fantastic, didn't go terribly. If I'll draw your attention to the last competition I did, where again it was 90 kg, I got halfway down or a third of the way down. I hate saying that word because you'll all make fun of me because of the way I say a third. But yeah, I got that way down the last competition and slipped out my hand. So this was a lot better. There was a lot of progression there, but it still wasn't where I wanted it to be, but I'll just keep training at it. And then we're on to the last one, which was the Sandbag Run. So this was an 80 kg sandbag, so relatively light compared to what I'd be training with. It was I was fine with the weight, and it was for max distance 60 seconds. So the difference with max distance, obviously you'd go nice and slow, you just keep plodding along, make sure the breathing stays going. With max distance, but during 60 seconds, you are having to sprint as much as you can, which you can imagine with 80 kg sprinting is a little bit tougher. Now, I was fairly confident with this. I would have hoped to be at least top 3, but possibly winning this. It would have been one of my really strong events. And it was one that I was sort of counting on to drive me back up and get me onto that podium place. Unfortunately, Murphy's Law, something went wrong. As you'll see, the pick was fine, tore off, got a couple of meters in, and you will see straight away there was a bit of a jerk where I tore my calf muscle. Now, straight away, you'll see I was in a lot of pain, obviously. I had to keep my leg pretty much straight for the whole event, and which meant I couldn't really sprint. I couldn't run. I couldn't do that push off the back leg, so I was constantly have to swing my leg around to do my run. At this stage, I was so pissed off and frustrated that I was not dropping that bag. I just got so annoyed, and everyone afterwards said to me, like, why didn't you just drop the bag? Why, you know, I was just in the zone where I was angry. The whole competition, it had been building up to this, and this, my strongest event, I got an injury. So pure stubborn, and I probably made the injury a little bit worse by continuing to go. However, I did with that calf injury, and you know, I'm quite happy with this. I ended up in joint 10th, I think. So that was great. I did 100 meters. That was a great result considering, but it did cost me a lot of points. So overall, the competition went quite well, considering the stupid mistakes and the injury. Went fairly well. Could have done an awful lot better. If things had gone right and I had just listened, it could have gone an awful lot better. I would have expected to be really fighting in a four-way battle for that second position. The number one position, the first place, was well out ahead of any of the rest of us. I think it was 70 points to the person in first place, and then second and third were mid-50s. That's where I would have expected to be, around the mid to high 50s, but first place was well out in front, so well done to him. He did incredibly well. Everyone else, there was some great competition there on the day. It blew me away. Some of the lifting and some of the athletes were incredible, so it was brilliant. But my own performance, happy with. A lot of room to improve. I have another competition coming up in 2.5 weeks up in Derry, which I'm hoping to be ready for. I do still have issues with this calf. My training is very, very limited and will be until the week of that competition, so I won't really get to train a huge amount for this next competition. Going to make it really, really tough. But May is the one that I'm really looking forward to and really aiming for. That's my next goal. That is the second competition in the league. And I ended up with, because I came 5th out of 24, I ended up with 11 points. The leader got 15 points. So 11 points to 15, it's not a huge gap. So I could hopefully drag that back. If some of the events do well for me in the next competition in May, I could drag that back, so fingers crossed, and that's what I'm aiming for. But for now, I'm just really focusing on getting this injury back 100% and getting back training. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can stay with me and follow me on through the whole league. It's going to be great. I'm going to have live streams, hopefully at all of them. I do need to double check that with a couple of the organisers, but the plan is to have a live stream at all of the events. So thanks very much for joining me. Please comment, let me know what you thought was the best event. Let me know whether you're doing any strongman training or competitions yourself. I'd be really interested to know. Please share the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.